Once upon a time, there were two very good friends, but both of their English was very bad. In class, when their teacher asked them to read something in English, they would read it, but very hesitantly, stumbling over it. They couldn't understand English, nor could they speak it. They often thought that when they go to class, they would speak in English, but as soon as they started speaking, something happened, and English wouldn't come out of their mouths. This problem became very big for them, and all the students in the class would mock them, saying that they didn't know how to speak English. A few years later, they had to go for an interview. They found out that the interview would be in English and was in 21 days. So both of them started learning English in their own ways. The first student started learning English in a different way. First, he started with grammar because he realized that grammar is very important for English. So, he studied everything in grammar: adverbs, nouns, pronouns, etc. Then, he studied the dictionary, wrote down words, and prepared for English for 21 days. The second student, on the other hand, found a new approach. He found 7 steps that helped him make his English strong in just 21 days. When the interview results came out, it turned out that student 1 was not selected, but student 2 was selected with very good marks. So, what were the 7 steps that student 2 followed? Hello, everyone. My name is Prashant, mentor of thousands of students. You're probably wondering, what are the 7 steps that helped student 2 strengthen his English in just 21 days? I'll definitely tell you those steps, but before that, I have a question. You must have faced this problem many times. When you try to read in English, you understand the language and you can read it. But when you start reading aloud, you stumble over the words. Or you think in your mind, I'll speak in English like this, I'll do this, I'll do that. But as soon as you start speaking, you don't know what happens, and English just doesn't come out of your mouth. If this problem happens to you, first write yes in the comments. Now, the second student followed 7 steps, and you need to follow those same 7 steps in the next 21 days. So, the first step is listening. Use your brain. Let me explain. According to textbooks, the traditional way to learn English is terrible. What is the bad way? It's the one they taught you in school. To learn English, first get a dictionary, pick up a grammar book, study nouns, pronouns, verbs, adverbs, and all that. Then, look at a dictionary and try to understand words. Only then should you start speaking English. This is what they used to say, right? But this is a terrible method. I see so many students following this method, but they never learn to speak English. This method is bad. The first step should be listening. Now, we need to listen. What should we listen to? We need to listen to things in English. Imagine you watch movies in Hindi. Switch to English movies. Watch English series. Watch with subtitles, so slowly you'll start understanding English. Or, if you like cricket, watch cricket commentary in English. If you watch the news, watch it in English. What will happen is that when you listen, your brain will activate. Think about it. When you were a child, how did you learn your native language or Hindi? Your parents used to speak it to you, right? That's how you learned. No one formally taught you the language, but you learned because you heard it. The first step is listening. The reason we don't know English is because we haven't been listening to it. We've been listening to Hindi or our regional languages since childhood. So today, start listening to English. Listen to it through different movies, news channels, and everything. The more you listen, the more you will start understanding words, and your brain will understand how the language works. Okay, this is how English language works. Now, let's move on to our second step. Our second step is daily 10-minute exercises focusing on words. Let me tell you about a 10-minute exercise, and it's a great exercise that you'll have to do every day for the next 21 days. If you're ready to do it, then listen carefully. What do you need to do? Imagine you're sitting in a room right now. Even now you can do this. You're sitting in a room, so look around the room and say out loud whatever you see. Like, I can see a desktop here. Say it out loud. I can see a bottle here. I can see a pen here. There is a smart board. There is a table. There is a chair. Say something about every object you see in your room. Just say the words, not the full sentences. You don't need to say the whole sentence, just say the words. By saying the words slowly, you will start to understand things. Now, students make a mistake. They directly try to speak in long paragraphs. They think, I'll start learning English from tomorrow, so I'll memorize complete sentences and practice speaking in English. This is a bad way. We need to start with small words. So, you need to do this exercise every day for the next 21 days. Now let's move on to our third point, which is reading using 3 senses of the brain. How will we learn English? We will learn it with the help of our brain. Our brain learns things quickly when we use all our senses, and we use our senses when we do loud reading. Let me explain. From now on, you need to take a book in English. Your textbooks are usually in English. If not, you can pick up any novel and read aloud. Read the sentences loudly. I know you'll get stuck sometimes, and there will be some words that you can't pronounce. No worries. If you get stuck, it's okay. Keep speaking slowly but loudly. What will happen is, when we read aloud, we'll be using many of our senses. The more senses we use, the faster the brain will learn English. Your brain will start absorbing English slowly, and it will be fed into your mind bit by bit. So, make this a daily habit. Whenever you get some time, lock the door of your room and start reading English sentences out loud, like, I can see this, I can see that, whatever it is. Now, let's move to the next step. But before we proceed, let me share one more thing quickly. Let's move on to our next point, which is the picture method. What is this picture method? Listen carefully. It's a great exercise. Try it now. A picture may have appeared on your screen. Now, as soon as you see this image, try to say what you see in English. For example, in this image, you can clearly see, I can see trees, I can see mountains, I can see the sun. These are the things I can see. So, whatever you see, create sentences in English for each object. You need to make a complete English sentence based on the image. You can pause this video, look at the image, and make a sentence on your own. If you practice this daily, you will find that you are able to speak everything in English and imagine things in English. Another exercise that you can do, which I used to do, is before going to bed at night. Think about how your entire day went, and think about it in English. You need to think and speak in English. For example, today I woke up at 6 a.m., then I went to my school, went to my coaching, had my lunch. You have to say everything in English. It may be basic English, but every night, for the next 21 days, when you think about your day, do it in English. This will help you clear up the problem that many people face, where they have lots of thoughts in English in their mind, but they can't speak them. If you do this exercise every day, this problem will be solved. I'm not asking for much from you. I'm just asking you to dedicate a little time every day to practice, and your English will improve. Let's move on to the next step. The next step is the pen-pencil trick. This is a very important trick for students who can't speak English clearly. I have seen many students who can speak English, but they can't speak it clearly. You can speak, but you can't speak clearly. So, what you need to do is take a pen or pencil, like this pen here, and place it between your teeth. Let me show you how to do it. Place it between your teeth, and then you need to pronounce vowels like A, E, I, O, U. Let me demonstrate. You need to practice these vowels daily. What's the benefit of this? The benefit is that you will be able to speak English more clearly. Many times our tongue is comfortable speaking in Hindi or regional languages, but not in English. Why? Because our tongue is not used to speaking English. That's the reality. But when you do this exercise, you will develop the habit of speaking clearly in English. You can do this exercise daily or whenever you get the time. I also want to mention that this exercise is used by big actors and actresses. Why do they do it? Because they need to deliver their dialogues clearly. This is why they use this exercise daily. So you too can do it, and you will be able to speak English clearly. Let's move on to the next step, which is the mirror method. Up until now, we have learned how to listen to English, read it, practice speaking, and do some exercises. Now, we are at the point where we can speak clear English. The next method is the mirror method. I'll demonstrate an exercise for you. I'll say the same line in 2 different ways, and you tell me in the comments which way you liked better. Here's how it goes. First way. Hi, my name is Prashant Kira. Second way. Hi, my name is Prashant Kira. Which one sounds better? Obviously, the second one sounds better. But there was no difference in the dialogue or the English. The difference was in my hand movements, facial expressions, and gestures. These hand movements and facial expressions are very important. People think that to crack an interview, all you need is to know how to speak English. I say no. It's not just about speaking English, but speaking English in the right way. Your hand movements and facial expressions should also be good. For this, you can use the mirror trick. Whenever you get the time, stand in front of a mirror and start speaking in English. Analyze your hand movements and facial expressions. See how your hands move, how your face moves, and how you look while speaking. If you do this, you'll naturally gain confidence over time. Along with this, I have a very good trick for you, which is to create a YouTube video. Record yourself speaking in English for 1 minute and post it on YouTube. Do this daily, and after 21 days, you'll see a massive difference. On day 1, you might feel like you can't speak English, but by day 21, you'll see how fluently you can speak and how much you've improved. This will make you happy. So, try it and tag me in your videos so I can see your progress. Now let's move on to our last step, which is confidence. Remember the two students I talked about at the beginning? The biggest difference between them wasn't just the English skills, but the confidence. Student number 1 didn't have confidence, but student number 2 had a lot of confidence, which helped them crack the interview. Let me share a short story behind this. Once there was a man working in a shoe shop. He was so good at selling shoes that anyone passing by would buy shoes just by hearing him talk. He was so persuasive with his words. Now, after learning English for just 15 days, he was able to speak English better than 90% of people. Everyone was shocked because this man had never spoken English before, and in just 15 days, he had learned it so well. That's when people realized that it's not the language that matters. What truly matters is confidence. The man had the skill to speak, whether in Hindi or English. It was his confidence that made the difference. The man had the skill to speak very well, and he spoke openly. He had confidence. What did he do with that confidence? He used it in English. Yes, his grammar was poor, his grammar was broken, and he spoke in broken sentences. He didn't know anything about grammar, pronouns, verbs, nothing at all. But still, he was able to speak English very well because he had confidence in himself. It doesn't matter how you speak English, whether it's broken or slow, if you speak with confidence and smile while speaking, the person you are talking to will believe that you know English. So, if you truly want to learn to speak English, first build your confidence. Go and talk to people. Speak to them. Don't worry about what they'll say or judge if your English isn't perfect. No, you should not be afraid. You need to go and speak. So I hope that if you follow these 7 methods, you will see a change in your life and be able to learn English in the next 21 days. On this note, thank you everyone. My name is Prashant. If you liked the video, share it with a friend. Whether you subscribe to the channel is up to you, but do share it with a friend so they can benefit too.